This course is going to be about thematic relations and cohesive devices, given to you by your teacher Al-Masri from your school, St. Charles College. Now, to begin with, the objectives of this video are going to be first the thematic relationships, and then the cohesive devices, which can be also called linking hooks. Now, what is really meant by thematic relationship? What do we mean by this term? Paragraphs in an essay are often related to each other through what is known as a thematic relationship, or sometimes they might call it a thematic link. So the paragraphs are related through the theme, through the content, through the information given in those paragraphs. The relationship can exist between one paragraph and another, it means between two paragraphs, or between a series of paragraphs, more than one paragraph, and another paragraph. Let's see the questions that might be asked in tests. The teacher might ask us, what is the thematic relationship between paragraphs, let's say 3, 7, and 5? Notice here there are 3 paragraphs. Or the teacher might say, what is the thematic relationship between paragraphs 6, 7, and 8 on the one hand, as one group, and paragraph 9 on the other hand? Or, what is the thematic relationship between the introduction and the conclusion? And of course, we all know that all introductions and conclusions are related because they talk about one topic. Or the question might be, in what sense is the thematic relationship between paragraphs 6 and 7 a cause-effect? Because you know the thematic relationship might be either cause-effect, one paragraph talks about the causes, the other one about the effects, or it could be problem solution, one talking about the problem and then presenting the solution, or it could be comparison, contrast, etc. relationship. So these are the questions that might face you in the test. Types of thematic relationships are as follows. First, the relationship might be comparison-contrast relationship. The writer might be in the paragraphs comparing between things, or it means finding the similarities between two things, how they are the same, or contrasting them, finding how they are different. It could be the problem-solution relationship. Might also be addition, reinforcement, support. Let's say we see 2 paragraphs. They are both talking about the same thing, and the writer is adding much more information to me as a reader. Therefore, the relationship between them is that of addition, reinforcement, and support. Or it could be question-answer relationship, or cause and effect relationship, as we said before. Now, let's look more at the comparison-contrast relationship. As we said, comparison and contrast. Comparison means finding similarities, and contrast means finding the differences. Now, how does the writer do this connection? The writer uses transitions, have, such as, however, yet, but, and like, nevertheless, or etc., to emphasize such a contrasting relationship, because these are opposites, and they usually exist at the beginning of the second paragraph. Let's say there are 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph talks about one thing, and yet, and the next paragraph begin with however. It means that there is a relationship between them, and it is that of contrast. 2 paragraphs or more discuss 2 different things or issues and contrast them. For example, if the first paragraph elaborates the positive side of an issue, of course the opposite would be the negative side. In the problem-solution relationship, what happens? This type of relationship assumes that the first paragraph or more, if extended, if we have more than one paragraph, decides a critical issue or the problem. So on the first paragraph, we might see the problem, and then you simply have to state the problem very briefly and then provide the solution. Where? In the second paragraph. The words and the phrases that you might use in speaking more about or writing more about the solution would be to solve the problem, for example, one solution as an outlet, or etc. These words emphasize such a thematic relationship, which is problem-solution relationship. Another type of relationship might be addition, reinforcement, and support. As we said, the writer is adding. When two paragraphs or more focus on the same side of a certain issue, such as the positive sides or negative sides, or causes or effects, the second paragraph merely reinforces. It only adds to, it supports the issue raised in the previous paragraph or explains it. The transitions that are used in such a relationship are additionally, means now we are going to add, moreover, means we're going to add to the one before, furthermore, or etc., usually refer to such a relationship. Question-answer relationship is also very easy. In this type of thematic relationship, the writer cites a question or a series of questions. It might be more than one question in the first paragraph. Where do we find the answers of these paragraphs? On the paragraph that follows, on the second paragraph. That's it. In other words, the writer might raise an issue in the form of a question in the first paragraph, and then give the answer in the form of explanation where in the second paragraph. The cause-effect relationship. In this type of thematic relationship, the first paragraph, or maybe more than one paragraph, highlights the causes of something or a phenomenon. And the second paragraph, of course, has to convey what? The effects or the results of a phenomenon. So causes and effects. These are the causes and these are the effects. Now, the question in the test might be as follows. What is the thematic relationship between paragraphs 5 and 7 in the above text, for example? Now, how can we answer such a question? We can answer that question by beginning the thematic relationship between, and we mentioned the paragraphs that are mentioned in the question, for example, 5 and 7, is, let's say, cause-effect one. Let's say I deduced it's a cause-effect one. In paragraph 5, the writer spots light on the basic cause behind the inability of the Lebanese to solve the problem by committing garbage, for example. So this is the causes. Why is Lebanon unable to get rid of this garbage? While paragraph 7 traces the traumatic effects of leaving such garbage on the streets, on health and economy and environment. So here the causes of that issue and the effects of that issue on the second one. Now, the second part of the course is what is meant by cohesive devices. Cohesion is the linking or sticking together of sentences logically. Now, when we are reading the essay, of course, all the paragraphs are connected. Now, this connection is done by using cohesive devices. It has to do with the clarity of ideas. If the ideas are not connected clearly, then there wouldn't be any clarity for me as a reader and I would not understand anything. Or with a smooth transition, it means movement from one idea to another. It might exist in one paragraph or in the essay. See the cohesive devices? They are the chain that links all those paragraphs. See these chains? These sets? They are connected together by the cohesive devices. And in this way, the paragraphs in the essay are connected. To achieve cohesion, the writer has to employ proper or good cohesive devices of linking tools. Sometimes we might name them as cohesive devices. The other times we might say they are linking hooks. They could be direct or indirect. Let's see how. Linking hooks or cohesive devices can be classified into two types. As we said, first type is direct transitions or hooks. Second type is indirect hooks. The direct transitions and hooks, let's see some explanation about that. First, they add, they restrict, they reverse, they establish a cause-effect relationship, they establish a time or space order relationship, and summarize or exemplify. You can do a lot of things. Let's see some examples. Moreover, it adds. However, it gives a contrasting idea. As a result, it comes after the cause and it's the effect. First, when we are talking about time order, in brief, when it just had to summarize everything. So these are examples of direct transitions hooks, words that we see at the beginning of the second paragraph. Direct linking hooks are of three types. They might be synonyms. It means using the same ideas but with different words. Words that mean the same thing. Or it could be repetition of some words. We might see the same words repeated in many paragraphs. Or they might be nouns and pronouns antecedents. For example, if we are speaking about the school, then we might see it, referring back to the school. If we might be talking about a certain man, then in the second paragraph we might see he, and this way. And it could also be used as this, that, those, whatever. Now, the question about the cohesive devices might be as follows. What linking hooks or cohesive devices does the writer use to link the paragraphs, let's say 5 and 7, or 3 and 4, 2 and 3? How does the writer achieve coherence and cohesion between paragraphs so and so? How are paragraphs so and so connected to paragraph, let's say the one after that? So questions might vary, but they all talk about the same thing, about cohesive devices, and the answers are usually the same. The answer would be the three paragraphs are linked directly or indirectly. We have to choose whether the writer used a direct word or he used indirect ways of connecting them, like synonyms and repetition, or maybe pronoun antecedents through so and so. Now here are some of the cohesive devices that we might use. If, for example, let's say look at the first set, they said adding. Whenever we see and, also, as well as, moreover, to, furthermore, in addition, additionally, plus, along with, it means we are adding. It means that the writer is adding ideas. So we might say that the thematic relationship is addition, reinforcement, and so forth, and so on. The next set talks about sequencing. Firstly, secondly, whenever we are talking about time order. The third one, emphasizing above all, in particular, especially, significantly, and indeed, notably, chiefly, mainly, legitimately. The contrasting ones, however, whereas, instead of, nevertheless, alternatively, otherwise, unlike, on the other hand, conversely, and yet. If we are comparing two things, finding the similarities between them, it would be similarly, likewise, as with, just as, like, equally, not only, but also, or in the same way. The cause and effect relationship might include such words because therefore with us, consequently, hence, as a result, and due to this. Exceptions, it could be but, all but one, however, although, unless, if not, except, apart from, aside from, as long as. While illustrating it, which means giving examples or exemplification, for example, such as, for instance, in the case of, is revealed by, illustrated by, and so on. Well, thank you for watching.